Welcome aboard, everyone! You're listening to Up and Foiling, the R2T podcast where we ride the highs and lows of the America's Cup and SailGP. I'm Ricky, your sailing fan, and with me are my two co-hosts who are still figuring out who's on port and who's on starboard.
Hello, I am Teo. I am an all-time Formula One fan that is getting to know the world of sailboat racing, and hopefully by the end of this season I will learn what a ley line is.
And hi guys, I'm Bighouse, passionate about sailing on big and slow cruising yachts, but still wondering why these fast boats are fine. And I'm loving so much these races.
We're here together to chat about the most thrilling moments on the water, with zero technical jargon and 100% fun. So let's get up and foiling!
Alright!
This week,
Round Robin 1 recap.
a boat drops in the Barcelona port.
And Bighouse will explain the foil theory. Welcome everybody to the second episode of our Up and Foiling podcast. So here we are after the round Robin 1 of the America's Cup in Barcelona, and let's remember that the races took place from the 29th of August to the 1st of September, and we had 15 races 1-1 where teams just compete against each other. But before going to analyze the results, I have tricky questions for our expert, Ricky. So why is it exactly called round robin?
Oh, this is a tricky question, Theo. I don't know, but let me ask ChatGPT, shall we? Okay. So round robin comes from the French ruban rond. That means round ribbon. So it's a ribbon where signatures were arranged in a circle for competitors to hide who signed first. The idea is of equal participations by everybody involved. And that's why we use it today. It's changed a bit. It's become round robin and not round ribbon. But there we go. There you have it, Theo.
Yeah, now I'm very happy to know. I was very confused at the beginning, to be completely honest. And I think that's a pretty interesting and surprising information for many new people to sailboat racing. But
it's always the French.
Yeah, it's always the French. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain for us that we are all Italian to admit that it's because of the French people, I think. But let's focus now on the results of this first round of the America's Cup. And now I ask Bighouse to lead us through the standings.
All right, guys. So during the round robin 1, we have seen a very good performance of Luna Rossa with 4 wins and 0 losses. It's like a record performance in the America's Cup for Luna Rossa team. And then we have in the second place Ineos Britannia with 3 wins and 1 loss, just 1 loss. And then American Magic with 2 wins and 2 losses. And then we have at 4th place Orient Express with 1 win and 3 losses, and Alinghi with 0 wins and 4 losses, unfortunately. So as you can notice, and especially if you're not familiar with America's Cup, the previous edition champion, which is Team New Zealand, isn't in the standing. So this is simply because they are automatically qualified for the final as a defender, and so they are still competing, of course, in the 1 versus 1 races, but actually their points don't count in the overall score. So actually, if I remember correctly, during this round robin 1, they did not compete in all the races, and I'm not really sure. Is it true, Ricky?
Yeah, you're right. The big talking point of round robin 1 was really not among the teams that are racing to become the challengers, but it was for the defender itself, where while they're hoisting their boat out of the water, the crane had a malfunction, and so the boat just fell from 7 meters straight into the wreck. And so it was a great scare for Team New Zealand. It took them a couple of days before they got back into the water, but it looks okay for now. I guess they're still worried, right?
Did they have any serious damage, like cracks in the boat main body, or?
Yeah, I think they had to work overnight and the day after on some carbon replacements of some parts. I think luckily the boat fell on its foils, and the foils are used to supporting the weight of the boat, right? And they were saying the loads are not are in line with what you experience during a tough maneuver in the water. But still, I would be pretty worried if I were in Team New Zealand. Maybe something in the electronics is not as it used to be. So some little things that can then potentially cost you the cup, right? They'll be checking everything for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were pretty fast to fix the boat, right? Not many days off.
Yeah, it took really just a couple of days and maybe one full night and the day after, but then on Sunday, the last
Already.
day of round robin one, they were back to competing. Yes.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, yeah.
So, as I said at the beginning, I am a all-time Formula One fan, and I know that every team in Formula One just drives to the circuits with many replacement parts. Basically, they can build new car in one night, I guess. So my question is it the same for these teams? Do they have all the replacement parts? Because the both are pretty much bigger than a Formula One car, so I'm not sure what do they bring with them at a competition like this.
They do not have so many replacement parts. The regulations also limit quite a lot the numbers of foils they could try and so on in the course of the preparation, right? So they don't have so many spares, right? So yeah, I guess all the work they have to do it on site and quickly, quick fixes. But the hull and the hull integrity is something that cannot be replaced for sure. One thing we saw very interesting during the last America's Cup was an accident of American Magic, where they literally flew out of the water and they crashed on their side, creating a hole in the boat, and then it flooded, right? And it started sinking slowly, well, not so slowly, and all the other crews of boats helped them. And it was amazing. They could save the boat from sinking, but of course all the electronics was full of water. The batteries that they used to pull the foils in and out, they were all a little bit compromised. So they got back to racing, but Luna Rossa managed to beat them pretty easily in that occasion. So, well, not so easily, but yeah, I think it would have been a different story with the American Magic being 100% in that case. So yeah, integrity of the boat is something key, and you don't want to have it bothering you while you're racing at 45 to 50 knots, right?
Yeah, so you also mentioned the foils as they are supposed to sustain the whole weight of the boat. It's very fascinating for us as aerospace engineering, this topic. And also, by looking at the recap of the races, we have seen that many teams did a mistake, which was called by the TV moderators falling of the foils. So what exactly does this falling of the foils mean?
Yeah, falling off the foil means that your speed, actually the foil are like wings, they behave like wings in the water, so they actually move the water, and they create like a different pressure region in the two sides of the foil, also above and below the foil. And actually, since the density of the water is much higher than the density of the air, these wings, compared to the size of an airplane, can be reduced in the dimension so much that they are basically ending up in these small foils that we can see in the competition. So actually what happens is that when you don't have enough velocity, enough speed, your lift force is not sufficient to sustain the weight of the boat. So actually we have seen in the recent days there were like low wind conditions, right, Ricky? Not much wind, and so
Yep.
the velocity of the boat was sometimes not sufficient to sustain. So difficult maneuvering could cause in this insufficient lift.
We've seen this used also very tactically, right, from the teams, especially on the start.
Yeah.
When teams often with low winds decided to lead back. So that means they want to approach the starting line first in front of the opponents. And then while they're in front of them, they can use their wake, all the air coming off from their sails. It just pours on the boat behind them, and this is very disturbed air. So this disturbed air, they call it gas. And this gas means the boat behind you has less air pressure in their sails. So as you said, Bighouse, the velocity is reduced, the speed is reduced of these boats, and then they fall off the foils. And this is a big mistake from the team following, right? You lose a lot of time when you fall off the foils, and it's very hard to recover your race from there.
Yeah, also I've seen that during the beginning, I mean, at the starting of the race, when there are low wind conditions, actually the boats are pulled by motorboats, by the boat of the team actually. So they pull the boat and give velocity to the boat in order to let the boat get up and foiling, no? Right?
Yeah, that's it. Up and foiling.
So, just out of curiosity, what's the minimum wind those boats can race in?
So before races, what the race committee does is to sample the wind. So they have on the 4 marks, so the 2 upwind and the 2 downwind marks, what they do is they register the wind in that location, and they need to have an average wind that is above 6.5 knots. It's really, really light wind, and it's really impressive how these boats manage to fly at 4.5 times the speed of the wind, right? They're doing 30 knots when there's only 6 knots of wind, and it's really almost magic, right?
Yeah, and nevertheless, even if it's just a breeze, we had day 2 of round robin 1 where there were races which were cancelled because of low wind. But that's now in the past, because now we face round 2. So what's up next, Bighouse?
Okay, up next is the round robin 2 actually. So all the teams are going to match race again, and for the final time before actually going to the semifinals. But only 4 teams go through the semis, so actually 1 team is getting left out. So unfortunately, Alinghi and Orient Express are looking to be the best candidates for going back home early. And what do you think about it?
Yeah, unfortunately for the Swiss team, they seem to be on the bottom of the standing. It's very weird because Alinghi, as far as I remember, I mean, when I used to watch America's Cup long time ago, was a very good team. But I think, if I read correctly, they came back into America's Cup for this edition, and they jumped a couple of America's Cup, and they made a bit of mistakes in their races, and they could not win any of them, even if they lost the first match against Orient just by a little distance. So those 2 teams do not look so strong. So let's see what happens next week. What do you think, Ricky?
Yeah, Alinghi are definitely on the back foot after this first round. The critical race was this first one. It's Alinghi versus Orient Express, really. It's the 2 newcomers to the Cup, and that was the critical one for them. They have coming up in round robin 2 immediately. Again, the same match race. Again, Orient Express and Alinghi. And that's once again going to be key to understand who comes out on top of the 2 teams. And I favor probably, from what I've seen, Orient Express going through. Although before round robin 1, I thought it would be Alinghi. So they've really disappointed me quite a bit. But Orient Express have really shown good pace. They've been sailing very well. They've had a few strong regattas. They almost won against Ineos. They had a very, very close race all the way to the end when they won the start against Ineos, and Ineos couldn't get by them. And this was, I think, on Sunday, on the race day 4, yes. And yeah, I remember GBR in that particular race was off the line of only 40 centimeters. So that's also really crazy, right? The precision with which these boats are racing, it's crazy. Like they managed to time the start where they're flying to the start at 30 knots and they're in or out, right, of the line only by 40 centimeters. That's something really impressive. But yeah, going back to your point, it looks like Alinghi are in great trouble to make it through to the semis.
And that's a wrap. Halfway to the semi-final with Luna Rossa with 1 foot in and Alinghi with 1 foot out.
Oh my, yeah. Sunday's races were great, weren't they? Let's hope to have more great races when the stakes get higher.
Join us next time on Up and Foiling as we break down the next results of the Louis Vuitton Cup. See you then!
Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast or YouTube, and please comment to let us know which topic you would like to be covered more in our podcast.